Imagine a battle so long, soldiers who arrived fresh-faced in the winter were unrecognizable by Christmas. A battle where entire forests disappeared, the ground turned to mud, and soldiers lived in trenches filled with corpses. This wasn't just any battle. This was Verdun, the longest battle of World War I. From February to December 1916, French and German soldiers fought in a nightmarish struggle for control of a place that, strategically speaking, didn't even matter. The Germans wanted to bleed France white, while the French simply refused to surrender. What followed was a 10-month-long meat grinder, the likes of which the world had never seen. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a mind-blowing war history video from Infinitia Verity. Trust me, this battle was absolute madness. Was Verdun the most brutal battle of World War I? Let us know in the comments. The Germans didn't choose Verdun because it was a key city. It wasn't. They chose it because it was a symbol of French pride. Falkenhayn, the German commander, believed that if he attacked it, the French would rather die than retreat. Falkenhayn's plan wasn't to win territory, it was to make the French lose so many men that they couldn't fight anymore. In theory, it was brilliant. In practice, it turned into mutual destruction. Verdun's fortresses were thought to be unbreakable, until they weren't. The forts of Verdun, including Fort Douaumont and Fort Vaux, were supposed to be impenetrable. But when the Germans attacked, the French barely defended them, and Fort Douaumont fell without a fight. On February 21, 1916, the Germans launched the largest artillery bombardment in history. In just one day, they fired over 1 million shells, turning forests into craters and burying entire French units alive. By the end of the first week, the ground was so utterly destroyed that soldiers described it as like walking on the moon. Trees, gone. Roads, gone. Rivers, gone. Just mud, craters, and death. On February 25, 1916, German troops walked into Fort Douaumont, Verdun's most powerful fortress, and found it empty. The French had abandoned it, and one German soldier took the entire fort single-handedly. Survivors of Verdun described it as hell on earth. Soldiers lived in trenches flooded with corpses, mud, and rats. If you weren't shot, shelled, or gassed, you might just drown in the mud. Verdun saw the first large-scale use of phosgene gas, a deadlier form of chlorine gas. Soldiers were told their gas masks would protect them, but many suffocated anyway. General Philippe Pétain was given one job: hold Verdun at all costs. He did it by constantly rotating troops, meaning that by the end of the battle, almost every French soldier had fought there. Pétain's lifeline was the Voie sacrée, or Sacred Road, a single road used to supply Verdun. At its peak, a truck passed every 14 seconds, carrying supplies and reinforcements. After the battle, entire areas around Verdun were so devastated by shelling, poison gas, and corpses that they became uninhabitable forever. Even today, the Zone Rouge is off-limits to humans. By the time the battle ended, over 700,000 men had been killed or wounded, but the front line barely moved at all. The French lost Fort Douaumont and Fort Vaux, but took them back months later after brutal hand-to-hand combat. Even though both sides suffered equally, France held Verdun. Ironically, Verdun ended right before the Battle of the Somme, another horrific battle where thousands more died. It never stopped. By December 1916, Germany called off the attack and France declared victory. But with millions of shells fired and hundreds of thousands dead, who really won? Even today, bodies and unexploded shells are found in the fields around Verdun. In World War II, Hitler demanded that German troops capture Verdun, calling it sacred German ground. In 1984, French President François Mitterrand and German Chancellor Helmut Kohl held hands at Verdun as a symbol of peace. Today, Verdun is a war memorial, a lesson on what happens when war becomes about pride, not strategy. Enjoyed this video? Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with more mind-blowing war history from Infinitia Verity.